Hey guys, in today's video, we're checking out the Shure Wireless QLX-D wireless system. This video is going to apply whether you're going to use it with a guitar or a bass or an instrument with like a body pack, or with a handheld mic for vocals, or even with a headset mic or a lavalier mic. This is the next part of my Shure video series, and in my opinion, the Shure QLX is where we start to get into the more pro level of wireless systems. Everything before this, when I went over the other ones, the BLX, the PGX, the GLX, and then the SLX, in my opinion, are all almost kind of more entry-level ones. The Shure SLX-D actually starts to get to the more pro-level ones. But in my opinion, once you get to the QLX and then the next video, the ULX-D, that's when you're really into pro-level wireless audio. So we're going to go over the specs, how this works, some of the different settings that you can do in here, why I think this is a pro-level system as opposed to the other ones, some of the settings, how it works, and see if this is right for you. Before we start, I would recommend watching my video about what to look for in a wireless system. I cover a lot of the terms I'm going to go over in this video. However, if you don't feel like watching it, I get it. You should be able to follow along here. But if you feel like watching that video, I would recommend watching it. So before we get started, I post videos like this all the time, stuff on wireless, in-ear monitors, finding cheaper stuff for musicians on Amazon, MIDI programming, stuff like that. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell. All right, let's get started. All right, so setup is really easy. On the back, you have these antennas. You can either just plug in the antennas like this, and it can sit on a desk or wherever you're going to put it, or it does come with the option to rack mount it. You also plug in power in the back, and in the back you have either XLR or quarter inch, so you're going to send that to whatever signal you're trying to go to. So you'll go to your first pedal or your amp or whatever you're trying to do, or to the front of house for a microphone. And you do have the switch back here as well for mic or line. Power up, and it's ready to go. On the transmitter, whichever one you're using, the body pack or anything like that, basically the same. You can put in 2 AA batteries, or they have the Shure lithium ion battery, which I definitely recommend. Turn it on and you're ready to go, and you'll see the RF signal light up when they are set correctly, and when I tap on it you can see that you're getting audio in the audio signal, or if I talk into it, hey, you can see it's getting a little bit of audio. And we'll show you how to do the scan and sync here in a minute. All right, the working range for this is about 300 to 330 feet line of sight, which is an excellent range. And you do get there is a way to set the RF strength as well, so I'll cover that in a little bit. This has a full frequency range, 20 hertz up to 20 kilohertz. That does depend on the microphone that you get. Certain mics will cut out, below 80 hertz or something like that, but the system itself handles a full frequency spectrum. And this one, you have 64 megahertz of RF tuning bandwidth, which is amazing. Again, if you didn't watch my video, RF tuning bandwidth basically is the amount of frequencies that you have to find a clean channel. So if you have a small RF bandwidth, like 10 megahertz, you only have 10 megahertz that you can search for a clean channel. With this one, you have 64 megahertz of RF tuning bandwidth to find a clean channel, which is pretty awesome. With this system, you can use up to 60 systems at once per band, and up to 129 using multiple bands. That does depend on the wireless environment, of course, but you being able to use up to 60 of these at once per band, you're starting to get into a really professional level, and you can definitely use multiple ones of these at once, which is one of the bonuses of having such a wide RF tuning bandwidth. The battery life is over 9 hours with AA and over 10 hours with the SB900 lithium ion battery, which I definitely do recommend. Some more advanced features that you get with this one: you do get AES 256 encryption, so if you're worried that someone can listen in on your conversation at a conference or something, that might be important to you. It is also just valuable to have, and I'll cover how to turn that on here in a little bit. And you also have an Ethernet port for updating the firmware or using with stuff like Wireless Workbench and other software for more advanced frequency management. So again, you're definitely getting into the more pro level system here. All right, so going through some of the settings, you can set your gain here just by hitting the up and down buttons, which is really nice. Super easy access to controlling the gain, which is amazing. You push the menu button and scroll through some of these options here. So you can scan the group or the channel. You can lock some of the settings. You can turn the encryption on and off. You can manually set the frequency if you want, and so on and so forth. So if I want to do a scan, so I'm going to hit menu and then scan for the best channel. It's scanning. It found group 1, channel 2, and then in order to sync it, you just push this sync button right here, put these right next to each other. It says good, and now you can see that it'll say group 1, channel 2, and they are synced up now, and they're working. You can also manually set the channel if you'd like. So you can hit this one and then go to group. Let's say I want to go to group 6, hit enter, and now it's set to group, and channel 4. If I want to manually set it, I have that option as well. And then again, you just hit sync, and you can sync these back together. It says it's good. found the RF signal, and it's ready to go. You have the lock option. So when you push, so you have menu, power, or gain. So what do you want to lock? So lock all of them, lock just the menu and the power, just menu and gain, power and gain, just menu, just power, and just gain, or leave it unlocked. Pretty cool. Next up, you have the encryption on or off, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to leave that off for right now. And then last but not least, if you want to manually set the frequency, so right now this one is set to 908.150. You can manually set that here if you would like. This is also, I'm borrowing this from my Singer. One of the options is 902 to 928 megahertz, which is a shorter RF tuning bandwidth. That's only 26 megahertz of a tuning bandwidth. But the other ones that are in around 470 up to 600 do have the 64 RF tuning bandwidth. So on the screen here, you can see, what group and what channel you're on. You can see the RF signal strength, so how strong of a signal it's getting. You can see the audio meter. So when I talk into it, it gets a signal. And you see where the gain is set right here. And then you do have a battery indicator, which is also great. Down here, it also to let you know which antenna is active. So when it's over to this one, it's the left one. When it's over here, it's on the right one. Something else that's really nice is that if you're getting an overload, it'll say where it's coming from. And you can see this from the manual here, which is nice. There's also an advanced menu. I will post the description in the manual, and you can pause it on the screen if you're going to use any of these. I honestly don't think most of you will need to use most of these, but the option is there. And to keep the video from being super long, I'm not going to go over all of those. All right, so on the transmitter, you have your power switch right here. You can turn it on. And then you have kind of this 4-way button right here that you can move. Pushing left is menu. Pushing right towards the right is enter. And then you have up and down. Let me darken the screen a little. All right, so now you can see it. So I can hit menu and scroll through all these settings. So I can manually set the channel here if I would like to myself. Group and channel manually if I'd like, but most of the time syncing is the best way to go. Keep going through. I also can manually set the frequency as well if I would like. Next up I have is it going to be locked or unlocked? So can any of the settings be changed? We have the RF power. You can set it to high or low. You can set it to low or high. Low is what you need most of the time. You don't really need to go high unless you're going really far away from it. Mic offset in decibels. So you can turn it up in groups of 3. So that's a pretty hot signal. So you have more control over your volume that you're sending to your receiver, which is nice. This is also really cool. The battery indicator, I'm using alkaline, lithium, or NiNH, I think is what it is, type of battery. So you can set that here to get a more accurate description of your battery and how much is left. Really cool. And that's basically it on the transmitter. And on the screen as well, you do see that you have a battery indicator, which you can see on your microphone as well, which is nice so you know when you have to change the battery. Okay, the different configurations that you have. So you can use this with a body pack, which will be used with a guitar or a bass or an instrument like that. You still get the receiver, and then you get the body pack and you plug in the instrument cable, and you can plug that into whatever instrument you're trying to control. Body pack is also used with a lavalier mic or a headset mic, and links will be in the description down below to find any of these configurations. And with handhelds, you get quite a few different options. The easiest ones to find are the SM58, the Beta 58, the Beta 87A and C, which are some of my favorites, and the KSM9, which is an amazing system. But looking online, you can actually get the cartridges to change to different ones. So you can see them on the screen now. So these are from the Shure website. You can just change out the cartridge if you would like. They also do sell a combo handheld and lavalier system, which is actually really nice. So for me, for someone who does a lot of weddings, I always have to have a lavalier mic or a headset mic for the officiant. And then I could use the handheld mic for, for my singing gigs and stuff like that. So it is nice that they offer that at a little bit of a discount. All right, so as far as pricing, so again, this is where you're starting to get to a professional level of wireless gear, in my opinion. So the cheapest you're going to find is the guitar system, which is $1,000 with the body pack and the instrument cable. So when you get to a lavalier or a headset mic, that's going to run you about $1,100. And then handhelds are just going to depend on the type of microphone that you get. So the cheapest is obviously the SM58, which is still a great mic. Nothing wrong with it. It's the industry standard for a reason. That was going to run you $1,050, and up to the Beta 87, which is going to run you about $1,200. So the KSM9, which is one of their best microphones, looking just online, not even just on Amazon, but on other websites as well, you have to buy the mic and the receiver separately. So the mic currently, as of shooting this video, is about $770, and the receiver is about $650. So it's about a $1,400 investment. If you do that, just make sure you match the correct frequency bands. So you can see, one of the frequency bands is G50. So make sure that if you're getting a G50 receiver, you're getting a G50 transmitter. Just make sure the frequencies match up. Otherwise, they're not going to work. All right, and then just some extra bonus stuff to get for like accessories and stuff that you might be interested in. Definitely, in my opinion, get the lithium battery, in my opinion. It gives you more information. It gives you actually accurate battery life within 15 minutes, so you can see exactly how much is left, not just the bars. I use that with my other Shure systems as well. It's really worth it, in my opinion. If not, just be sure to get rechargeable batteries. It'll help save your wallet. Trust me, you're going to be going through batteries a lot if you don't. There is an option for the ID rings. So at the bottom, you can put in, the different colors on the bottom of the microphone if you are getting it with a handheld mic. So that can be nice. You always have them color coded so you know which one is which. So it makes it just easier to see which microphone is which. There is a UAMS mute switch. So this goes on over the cartridge and it's just a quick way to mute it. So instead of having to turn it off and then turn it back on and wait for it to power up, you just have a really quick mute and then a really quick unmute. With this system, since you can use so many microphones at once you start using 4 or more of these, I'd recommend, and that's just true with any wireless system, is you want to get an antenna combiner and distributor. So basically you plug all of these into the antenna combiner and distributor, and then there's just one antenna that controls all 5 of the wireless systems, and you have much better signal and much more reliable signal when you only have 1 pair of antennas instead of 5 pairs of antennas. And you can also get you've probably seen these before at like bigger shows, the external antennas or flag antennas, as I've heard them called quite a bit, or just ways to improve the signal strength if you're really doing bigger shows and stuff like that. So I'll post links to all of that down below if you're interested in exploring that more. All right, so my final thoughts on the system. Again, I'm going to stick by, if you are looking at getting a pro system, this is the system that you want to start looking at. My next video will be on the ULX, which is the next level up. So either of those are going to be great. The QLX is definitely a little bit of a cheaper option, but the fact that you're starting to get 64 megahertz of tuning bandwidth, you can use 60 of these at once. No wireless is perfect. You've seen massive shows, where gear malfunctions. That's part of our lives. But it's going to be really hard to take this system down once you start getting QLX and up. So in my opinion, if you're a full-time musician and you have the budget to spend on this, I would definitely recommend going to this level of a wireless system as opposed to getting one of the cheaper ones. Also, if you plan to use a lot of wireless systems at once, that's what's really nice about these systems. They start getting more expensive because you can start using more of them at once. So like the entry level like Shure PGX series, they say maximum you can use 4 or 5 of them at once. And that is in the best conditions. So if you're in a rough wireless environment, you'll start to get dropouts. But if you're using a system like this, like the QLX, where you have 64 megahertz of RF tuning bandwidth, that's a much bigger range that you can find a clear signal in. It's going to be a lot harder to not find a clear signal with this system. In my opinion, it's absolutely worth it to get this system. As a full-time musician, I mentioned this in the SLX series. I said that I wish that I just went up and got the QLX personally, and I actually am likely going to end up doing that and selling my SLX just because I just want that next level up and to have a really professional wireless system, since this is what I do full time. So that's basically it. It's a great system. Definitely think it's worth it. If you guys made it this far, if you can just do me a favor, just hit the like button. It does a lot to please the YouTube algorithm gods. Also, all the links in the description down below are Amazon affiliate links. They don't cost you anything to use those links. It is just a free way to help support the channel so I can make more videos like this in the future. So using those links to buy anything that I talk about is a great way to help out the channel. Next up will be the ULX, and the last will be the Axient. So be sure to subscribe to see those videos when they drop. Also, don't forget to check out that video of what to look for in a wireless system. I go more in depth of all the things you should be looking at. Also, don't forget to follow me on my social media pages. They're on the screen: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Scott Ewell Music. Instagram's my favorite. The other two I don't personally care for too much, but they're on there if you want them. Thank you guys again for watching. Leave a comment down below with your experience with the QLX system if you've used it, and I'll see you guys next time.